Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. By the English meaning from Surah Yusuf. O my sustainer, thou hast indeed bestowed upon me something of power, and hast imparted unto me some knowledge of the inner meaning of happenings, originator of the heavens and the earth. Thou art near unto me in this world and in the life to come. Let me die as one who has surrendered himself unto thee, and make me one of the righteous. This account of something that was beyond the reach of thy perception, we now reveal unto thee, O prophet, for thou wert not with Joseph's brothers when they resolved upon what they were going to do and wove their schemes against him. Yet, however strongly thou mayest desire it, most people will not believe in this revelation. Although thou dost not ask of them any reward for it. It is but Allah's reminder unto all mankind. But then, how many men, or how many a sign, is there in the heavens and the earth which they pass by unthinkingly, and on which they turn their backs? And most of them do not even believe in Allah without also ascribing divine powers to other beings beside him. Do they not then feel free from the fear that there might fall upon them the overwhelming terror of Allah's chastisement, or that the last hour might come upon them of a sudden without their being aware of its approach? Say, O Prophet, this is my way resting upon conscious insight, accessible to reason. I'm calling you all unto Allah and those that followed me. Limitless is Allah in His glory, and I'm not one of those who ascribe divinity to aught besides Him. Of course, this was one of our favorite, ayats from Surah Yusuf, or a system of ayats. Contained, of course, in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know that there's, whether you see it in movies, whether you look in the Quran, Hadith, there's always references to shaitan, and in fact, there's only two parties in the world. Hizbu Shaitan and Hizbullah. There's only two parties in existence in the world for a human being. He's either a part of Hizbu Shaitan or Hizbullah, the party of God. You go to the movies and what have you, and you'll see that all the big mean characters in modern times are coming from the dark side, And the light side, so-called good side, sometimes shines through. But no matter what happens, no matter how far in the future they show these Star Treks and other movies, guess what people are doing? They're doing the same thing in the 21st century that they did in the 17th century, in the 5th century BC, And the same thing in Star Trek, way out in the future. Because the human being is blocked by possibilities of goodness. They feel that the dark side or the shaitani side will be here, or they don't understand it as shaitan and Allah or Hizbul Shaitan, Hizbullah. Even those people who are non-believers recognize these forces in nature, but they are there. And over the period of time, they have succumbed to the belief. You can see it in movies and literature and everything they produce. They don't feel it's possible for the human being to be good. And they don't feel like that there's going to be a good outcome for the human being. They just don't feel that way. I don't care whether it's George Lucas, whether it's Spielberg or Weinberg, or all of them. You look at the end point of their movies. That's their thinking. And the people are drawing on that. I look at the stuff my kids be watching now, and it's a few years ago it was werewolves and all of that, and now it's zombies. I don't know what. Now, I think the old time zombies, you know, used to walk like this in the old 1930s and 40s movies. You know, the zombies, they looked like they was doing what we used to call in California, the prolixin shuffle. You know, that drug, the prolixin. No, people would, hey man, I came back, I don't want to stray from the subject. I came back from overseas and I went to the LA County Jail. When I was gone, they didn't have all them old funny drugs when I left, or they wasn't popular. But by the time I got back, if you messed up in the jail, they put you on Prolixin, they put you on Thorazine, and all of that. And the brothers was telling me, man, that stuff is so serious, they can put you in a minimum security joint, and the fence could be this high, and you can't climb it. And then if somebody was walking down the hall, they'd be walking like a zombie. And if you called him, hey, Brother Johnny, he'd turn all the way around like the old time zombie. What you going? He didn't just say, hey, man, what's going on? He didn't do that. He'd turn all the way around. And the way they was walking, they called it the prolixin shuffle. In other words, it had its own distinct look and what have you. But in the meantime, they give those things to suppress the natural inclinations in the human being. In even the movies, they had one called The Gift or The Giver or something, and they had a little apple or something when you wiped your hand on it when you went out the door, and that was your daily shot of nafs, protection against your nafs, that you wasn't going to do nothing against the rules because you had rubbed your hand, but it was a dystopian environment. It looked real nice, but everybody followed the rules and everybody didn't go beyond certain limits. They had where they lived, and they had the dark place way out there, the outer limits. That must have been what people did, what me and you do all the time. You know, regular sin and regular fitna and all that stuff. When you look at all of what's presented in books and literature, we're presented with a picture, a dystopian view of the future, totally. A dystopian view, like, utopia, good place, dystopia, bad place. Well, what does it look like? Think about the movies you've been to or you heard of. The Book of Eli. They walking all across the country trying to find something and wind up being some biblical stuff. But in the long run, the whole earth is all messed up. It's all messed up. It's dystopian. the great cataclysmic event happened, and it's got people, the people that survived, they hunting each other down, eating up the children, all kind of dumb stuff, right? This is, now you gotta imagine, this is fed to the people. How many modern movies have a friendly ending, a good ending? The people ride off in the sunset happy. Not too many. No, don't do that. If you do ride off in the sunset happy, you didn't have so much fitna, you didn't blew up so many buildings and got so much stuff happen to you that you almost deserve that little bit of 2 minutes of happiness. So it's dystopian. Everything is tragic. There's no good end. You know why? Because those people that make the movies, they don't believe in the good side of human beings. They sold on everything they've seen and all their history. All they read is, you know, the timelines is based on wars. The War of 1812, the French Revolution, the War of this, right? The Civil. That's what everything, right? You remember the timelines when we was in school? Yeah. All the timelines is based on, most of it is based on big wars. The bigger the war, the longer the timeline. That's what they based their whole history on destruction. And the destruction is so grotesque. In America, you know, they showed the Vietnam War on TV. Every night you came home from work, you'd see the people carrying each other. They had the press in Vietnam to show the public. That's what turned the people off. They was watching TV. They said, man, the people over there, them brothers got it bad. And they started protesting. And they kept it like that. You could see the war in Vietnam. But all the Gulf War and all of that, you couldn't see that on TV. They had learned. You can't now. You could see, the first time I saw dead American soldiers laying out in the newspaper was when I went overseas. They showed them dead troops and everything. The point is that we're living under very serious control, and we're at a point now to where we have to make a serious decision that we're at a transition period in life. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how we view that transition. First of all, if the United States of America wants to lead the world again, or be more popular and everything that it would like to be, that it said it was, it would have to, in order to save their so-called democracy, they're going to have to be a democracy. They've never been a democracy. We already went over what they do, this, that, and other. Even the Constitution, common defense, promote the general welfare, they haven't done none of that. They have not done any of that. So if the United States want to make a comeback, guess what it's going to have to do? It's going to have to do good. It's going to have to repent. It can do a game changer. What's the game changer? You want to be number one? You're not going to be number one in economy. You're not going to be that anymore. The Chinese have already knocked you. And then you done scared everybody else in the world. So the United States enforced the people of the world into blocks. You might have Iran, Iraq, Syria, Venezuela, Yemen, that's one block. You might have the Soviet Union floating around them, you know what I mean? They're giving them a little physical support. You may have, of course, you got the Zionists over there. The Zionists is telling the Americans what to do. That's what's so sad about it. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. The American people have to liberate themselves from the Zionist hold that those people got on them. And the Zionists are serious. Y'all done seen me with pictures of the rabbis and all of that? Look. Not only we know it, but the rabbis say, yeah, they would blow up a synagogue in Iraq to run all the people, the Jews, out of Iraq to the state of Israel. You know what I mean? Because remember, the Zionists don't care nothing about Jews. You know who they beating upside the head now in Israel more than anybody? The Jews, the ones that wear the pigtails and all that.
Yeah, Orthodox.
They had deadly against. And see, those crew, some of them lived in Israel already. A lot of them. They lived in Israel already during the period of Palestine. The Jews and the Muslims lived in harmony together. Those Jews that lived there with the Muslims before, the Orthodox Jews do not fight the Muslims because they don't believe in Zionism, and the Zionists are a political Nazi-type party. They're just like Nazis. Right? Now, they use Jews or Judaism, but don't let them pray. They call them swine eaters, the Jews. And on the menu in Israel right now, you can find white steak on the menu at a big hotel. White steak was that. It's pork. You couldn't do it with them rabbis because of pork is haram. I mean, it's right. But with them, the Jews call them swine eaters. But anyway, we'll get back. The point is this, that the Israeli policy is the one that's driving the United States. And that means a small group of people are in such control of the world as it exists today that they make the United States do what they want them to do. That's why they used to hate poor Obama. Why they hated him? Why Netanyahu hated Obama? Because he was saying, hey, look, we're going to have, JCPOA, something like that, Joint Conference. They signed that. And who hated it? Saudi Arabia hated it, and Netanyahu hated it. Really just hated it. So, soon as they put Don in power, now you got to remember, they put Donald Trump in power. We said it from day one. We didn't give all these details. We said somebody hired that man to destroy the Republican Party, to destroy America, right? But he didn't destroy it. First thing he did said, move the embassy to Jerusalem, right? And they cooked up all them plans to destroy the Palestinians, right? So nobody got what they want out of the U.S. government except the Zionists. Let me go on. So in this new world we're talking about, this is a real deal. Okay. So technically, America can lead the way in this new world. But it cannot lead the way unless it repents. Now this is a big here's what we're saying. What we're saying, let's stop beating around the bush. What we're saying to the United States government. The other day I was watching, we did a couple of programs with my nephew. We did a couple of programs with, from Iran. And you gotta remember, the phone couldn't sit still without them calling me, right? They're the ones that had to, we gotta do this. Then you don't hear nothing. Yesterday my nephew called me and said, man, I said something about white folks on some program, and now they got out of stuff I said that's went viral. They're making me a big person in the news, you know. I said, oh, that's just normal. I said, I knew when you called me that the government was going to do something, because they're the only ones can do that. You're unknown today, and everybody knows you tomorrow. I said, the United States government is the only one can do that. And then my homeboy from overseas, when the FBI was here, they said these people are, you know, are bad, and you can't, you know, let's call it New Horizons, whatever. I said, those are your people. What are you talking about? So those are your people. So you got to remember, I guess people forget the last 10 or 15 years, what my friends, how they was treating me when I was coming to Iran. It was totally different than 30 years ago, 40, 35, all the way back then. I was a hero. They were still calling me a hero, but they was treating me like a Dowling or something, like untouchable. And they was acting funny. Okay, when people act funny, I don't say, you acting funny, man, that sure is cold. I don't say that. I very seldom say that. I just let everybody act the way they want to act. But I know what they're doing, and I know what it means. So, the point is this. We call it, what do we call it, JOP or something. We want to have this relationship with the United States government. First of all, we want you to pull back on us, and we'll sign let's call it a treaty. And the reason